The first item of business is that I have the honor of presenting the 2024 Janet Spragens Pro Bono Award. This award was established in 2002 to recognize one or more individuals or organizations for outstanding and sustained achievements in pro bono activities in the tax law, which is such an important part of our section's mission. This year, the committee selected Guinevere M, and I could not be more thrilled to present her with this award. Many of you will be familiar with Gwen's many and varied pro bono activities over the years, as she has been steadfastly committed to sharing her time and talents since the start of her career. In addition to many hours spent representing individual taxpayers through the Calendar Call program and other pro bono referral networks, Gwen has organized training for other professionals to participate in the Calendar Call. She will always take on a pro bono matter even when her firm is not accepting new clients, and even when she is in the middle of a substantial criminal trial, the last of which, by the way, she obtained a complete acquittal on all charges. Gwen has been deeply involved in larger litigation projects to promote social justice. In Doe versus Trump, she was a crucial part of a team litigating a class action case on behalf of U.S. citizens married to non-U.S. citizens who were ineligible for COVID relief under the CARES Act. In 2022, she represented the Center for Taxpayer Rights as amicus curiae before the Supreme Court in Bittner versus United States. This dispute addressed the statutory interpretation of penalty amounts under Section 5321 of Title 31, known to many of us as the F-bar penalty. In ruling for the taxpayer, the Supreme Court cited Gwen's brief. She has been an active member of the tax section since she was admitted to the bar. She served as chair of the Standards of Tax Practice Committee, where she was very involved on comments on the 2014 revisions to Circular 230. She also founded the Women's Networking Breakfast at the Criminal Tax Fraud and Tax Controversy Institute in Las Vegas, and as a council member now is an inaugural leader of our very exciting Live Well, Lawyer Well program. Gwen is a devoted mentor to a new generation of lawyers and social justice advocates. As her nomination letter says, she is never bashful about enlisting others to fight for a just cause and encouraging others' participation and involvement to facilitate a necessary change. Her conviction and belief is contagious, and her ability to rally the troops to create a strength in numbers is nothing but effective. It is now my honor to present the 2024 Janet Spragens Pro Bono Award to Gwen M. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Scott, for that amazing introduction. I am beyond honored and incredibly humbled. If any of you have looked at the past recipients of this award, it is astounding to think that I could ever join such an amazing group of people who honestly are my heroes. And this award I accept on behalf of everyone at Moore Tax Law Group, and in particular my partner, Jana Ziering, and everybody else from the firm who's here, Cheyenne, Ajay, Aaron. Every pro bono case that we take is a team effort, regardless of who works on that case, because whenever we take something on like this, as you all know, it affects everyone in the firm. I wanted to say just a couple things briefly. I was raised not to talk about the charitable things that you do and the money that you give. And I'm going to break that rule today. I'm going to break it very firmly because I want to ask everybody here to join me in charitable works and charitable giving. And I want to talk just a little bit about what the charitable giving and time that I have donated has given back to me and to those who work with me, and convince you all that you should join me because it's really rewarding. So if you'll indulge me for just a few minutes. There are three things I want to talk about that have made it possible for me to stand up here today and why I care so much about helping others and giving back. And those three things are a coat, a map, and opportunity. So I'll start with the coat, and I don't know if we can switch to the next slide. So this is me in 7th grade with my best friend, Dana. And it's possible that I had a new coat before I was in 6th grade, but I don't ever remember having one. But I remember this is the coat. This is the first new coat I ever remember having. And when I got this coat, I tell you, I strutted my way to school like I have never strutted before. 2 blocks away from my house, a bird pooped on my coat. So I also learned humility in the same day that I strutted. But I never forgot the feeling that I got from that new coat. The feeling of pride that I had to have something new and shiny, and I have really carried that with me. And so living in Chicago, it's very cold, and I think if you look closely, you might be able to see my first gray hair forming. But in 7th grade, in 8th grade, I still, that feeling of a new coat has stayed with me. And so every year when it comes time for the coat drive, which in Chicago is very important, I take my kids and we go and we buy new coats. And we donate the coats that we have, but we also buy new coats. And the feedback that we get is incredible from people who say, I have never had a new coat. You have changed. My kid can walk into school, or I can walk into a potential job. And so I want to say to all of you whose practices don't lend, it's not as easy to get the pro bono opportunities, right? Because it is very easy to have pro bono opportunities in controversy. It's not as easy in every other kind of practice. Please consider, when you can, buy the new coat. Give the client an opportunity to buy the new coat, and please join me and More Tax Law Group in donating to your local LITC, to TAPS, to JEDI. And today, More Tax Law Group is going to match all of the donations that are made to TAPS and JEDI up to $5,000. And I ask you to please join us. So the next thing I want to talk about is a map, and that's on the next slide. And just very briefly, when I was in college, there's a group of us who would go to Cook County Jail, and anyone who's incarcerated in Cook County Jail is typically arrested, and they couldn't make bail and they're awaiting trial. And there was a program to help people who were incarcerated there to get their GED. And we would go and tutor people to get their GED, and I tutored a woman who, part of getting a GED is learning how to read a map. And she did not know, so we did this map reading exercise, and it was as if a light bulb went off. And she said, I would love to know how to get to Grant Park. I've never been there. Born and raised in Chicago, had never been to Grant Park. Grant Park is where Lollapalooza is held every year. And if you look, it's 8 miles from Cook County Jail to Grant Park, and she had never been there. And we worked through the mapping exercise, but the point that I'm making is it has always stuck with me in my career when someone is both literally and figuratively unable to figure their way out of a situation. And the way that I approach tax problems is trying to understand the roadmap. What is the map? How do I map my way out of this? And then I want to teach my client how to read the map themselves. How can I help you understand how to read a map? Thinking back to that first opportunity that I had to teach someone how to read a map back when I was in college. And the third thing is just opportunities. So the next slide is, I started doing pro bono very early in my career, back when I was at Holland & Knight, which I cannot say enough good things about how supportive that firm was of this practice and pro bono when I was there. This was the very first motion. Came in at the last minute, as we all do in a calendar call, and I came in and argued, respondent had filed a motion to dismiss as moot on a levy case because the client had been levied and it was now paid in full. And, all David Autry's stories start with, I had a case. All my stories start with, I was very pregnant. I was very pregnant. And I argued on behalf of petitioner. This is my very first argument on a motion to dismiss. I did not win, but Judge Paris was incredibly gracious. But when you do these things pro bono, and my first motion to dismiss argument was this case, pro bono. My first cross, my first opening, my first closing, all pro bono. My first opportunity to, obviously, what Nina Olson giving me the opportunity to brief on behalf of the Center for Taxpayer Rights and the Supreme Court, pro bono. Thank you to my partner, Jana Ziering, for all the hard work that brief is really her brief. But I am incredibly grateful for every opportunity that I've been given, and it all comes back to this section and the people in this room who I have worked with on panels, I have worked with on comment projects. They get to know you, they know your work, and then they want to work with you on a case. And one opportunity leads to the other, and it is because of my pro bono opportunities and my section work that I have gotten the work that pays the bills. And I'm so grateful for all of it. And again, I'm just humbled and honored and want to thank all of you and everybody in the section for the support. Thank you.
Lovely. You can leave it. We can get it afterwards. That was just lovely. Thank you, Gwen.